Hello and welcome to VibeAudiobook. Today, we're diving into a book that promises to unlock the secrets of human behavior, a guide to understanding what people are truly thinking and feeling, even when they're not saying a word. Get ready to enhance your social intelligence, improve your relationships, and become a master observer of the world around you. We're talking about Joe Navarro and Marvin Karlins' groundbreaking work, What Every Body is Saying. Before we jump in, if you're enjoying the insights and wisdom we're sharing, please take a moment to hit that like button, share this episode with someone who might benefit, and, of course, subscribe to Vibe Audiobook so you never miss another journey into the world of transformative ideas. Your support helps us bring more incredible content your way. Now, imagine having a superpower, the ability to read minds, not through magic, but through meticulous observation. That's essentially what this book offers. Joe Navarro, a former FBI counterintelligence agent, spent decades honing his skills in nonverbal communication, learning to interpret the subtle cues that betray our true intentions, fears, and desires. He's condensed that lifetime of expertise into this accessible guide, turning complex psychology into practical, actionable insights. This isn't just about catching someone in a lie, although it certainly helps with that. It's about building deeper connections, understanding unspoken needs, and navigating social situations with greater confidence and empathy. It's about becoming a more astute negotiator, a more perceptive friend, and a more insightful leader. So, let's peel back the layers, chapter by chapter, and discover what every body is saying. Chapter 1. The Power of Nonverbals, the Silent Language of the Mind. Imagine you're walking into a bustling room. Before a single word is exchanged, your brain is already processing a deluge of information. The way people stand, the expressions on their faces, the subtle shifts in their posture, all of it paints a picture. This immediate, intuitive understanding is the essence of nonverbal communication, a language we all speak and interpret, often unconsciously. Joe Navarro begins What Every Body is Saying by emphatically declaring that nonverbal communication is not just a form of communication, it is, in many ways, the primary form. He argues that our bodies are constantly broadcasting signals, a continuous stream of information that often reveals more truth than our carefully chosen words. Why is this silent language so powerful? Because it is largely governed by our limbic system, the most ancient and primitive part of our brain, responsible for our survival instincts, fight, flight, or freeze. These limbic reactions are instantaneous, honest, and largely involuntary, making them incredibly reliable indicators of our true internal state. Navarro, drawing from his extensive experience as an FBI counterintelligence agent, recounts how crucial understanding nonverbals was in his line of work. His job wasn't just to listen to what suspects said, but to meticulously observe how they said it. The subtle tremors, the averted glances, the fidgeting hands. These minute details, often dismissed by the untrained eye, were critical in assessing credibility, detecting stress, and uncovering hidden intentions. He realized early on that when words and body language contradict each other, the body almost always tells the more accurate story. Consider a common scenario. Two people are discussing a business deal. One person is verbally agreeing to terms, but their arms are tightly crossed, their feet are pointed towards the door, and their jaw is subtly clenched. The words say yes, but the body screams no. Navarro teaches us to trust the scream, not the whisper. He stresses that the limbic system, being the emotional core, prioritizes comfort and safety. When we feel good, our body language is generally relaxed and open. When we feel threatened, uncomfortable, or stressed, our body language will invariably reflect that distress, often through pacifying behaviors, blocking gestures, or attempts to create distance. This foundational chapter is an urgent call to awareness. It challenges us to move beyond superficial listening and to become active, engaged observers.
Navarro urges us to recognize that everyone around us, including ourselves, is constantly communicating through their bodies. By tuning into this constant broadcast, we gain access to a profound layer of human interaction, unlocking secrets that mere words often conceal. It's about understanding the unspoken narratives that shape our daily lives, making us more perceptive, more empathetic, and ultimately more effective communicators. This deep dive into the power of nonverbals sets the stage for the detailed examination of specific body parts and their communicative roles that follows. Chapter 2. The Most Honest Parts of the Body. Unmasking Truth from the Ground Up. If our bodies are constantly speaking, where should we direct our attention to hear the clearest, most unfiltered messages? Joe Navarro provides a groundbreaking answer that often surprises people. Start with the feet and legs. He designates these as the most honest parts of the body because, being furthest from the brain and often out of direct sight, they are the least consciously controlled. While we meticulously manage our facial expressions during a stressful conversation, our feet and legs often betray our true feelings without our awareness. Navarro introduces the concept of gravity-defying behaviors versus gravity-influenced behaviors. When someone is excited, happy, or feeling positive, their feet and legs tend to display gravity-defying actions. Think of someone bouncing on the balls of their feet, standing tall, or even doing a little hop. These are often unconscious expressions of high spirits, eagerness, or confidence. Conversely, gravity-influenced behaviors, such as slumping, dragging feet, or lethargic movements, often signal low morale, sadness, discomfort, or a lack of confidence. It's as if the weight of their emotions is physically pulling them down. One of the most insightful observations Navarro makes about the lower body is the significance of foot direction. He explains that our feet often point towards where we want to go or towards what interests us. If you are talking to someone whose feet are pointed directly at you, it's a strong indicator of engagement and interest. They are literally pointing their intention and focus towards you. However, if their feet are angled towards the door or away from the conversation, even if their upper body and face seem engaged, it's a clear nonverbal signal that they might be uncomfortable, disengaged, or have a desire to leave the situation. This escape route signal is incredibly honest and difficult to fake. He also discusses leg crosses and their nuances. While a common interpretation of crossed legs is defensiveness, Navarro explains that context is everything. Often, it's a comfort gesture, especially when sitting for long periods. However, a tight, stiff leg cross, especially when combined with other negative cues, like a furrowed brow or arms crossed, can indeed signal resistance or discomfort. Conversely, an open leg stance or even a relaxed leg cross, where the top leg is slightly pointed towards you, often suggests comfort and openness. Furthermore, foot tapping or fidgeting can indicate impatience, anxiety, or boredom. A rapid, rhythmic tap suggests irritation or a desire for the situation to change, while a slight restless movement might just be discomfort. Navarro emphasizes that these aren't isolated signals, but part of a larger cluster. Observing the feet and legs requires practice, as they are often hidden under tables or less directly visible. However, by making a conscious effort to include them in your observational scope, you unlock a treasure trove of honest, uncensored information about a person's inner state. This chapter fundamentally shifts our understanding of where true communication often resides, starting from the ground up.
Chapter 3. Torso and Hips, the Core of Comfort and Discomfort. Moving upward from the feet and legs, Navarro delves into the communicative power of the torso and hips. These central parts of our body, housing our vital organs, are crucial indicators of our sense of security, comfort, and vulnerability. The way we position our torso often reflects how safe or threatened we feel in a given situation. A key concept introduced here is ventral display versus ventral denial. Ventral refers to the front of the body.
When a person is comfortable, feels safe, and is engaged in a positive interaction, they tend to display their ventral side, meaning their chest and abdomen are openly facing you. This can manifest as leaning forward, turning their entire body towards you, or maintaining an open, unshielded posture. It's an unconscious invitation, a nonverbal way of saying, "I trust you, I'm comfortable with you, and I'm open to what you have to say." Think of a newborn baby lying on its back, completely exposed and trusting. This is the ultimate ventral display. Conversely, ventral denial occurs when someone turns their torso away from you, shielding their front. This is a powerful nonverbal signal of discomfort, disagreement, or even hostility. When a person feels threatened, insecure, or simply doesn't like what's being said, their limbic system prompts them to protect their vital organs by turning away. This could be a slight turn of the shoulder, an angle of the hips away from the speaker, or a full pivot. Even if their head remains turned towards you, a body turned away is a clear indicator of psychological withdrawal or rejection. Navarro highlights that this gesture is extremely honest and often occurs when someone is feeling negative emotions they are trying to suppress verbally. Shoulder shrugs are another important torso signal. While a quick partial shrug can mean, "I don't know," or "I don't care," a full, extended shrug, where the shoulders rise high towards the ears, can indicate helplessness, submission, or a complete lack of understanding and emotional resignation. The degree and duration of the shrug provide context. The hips also play a role in revealing comfort and orientation. A person who is relaxed will often have a more fluid and open hip posture. If they are stressed or defensive, their hips might become rigid, or they might shift their weight nervously, sometimes even tilting their hips away from a perceived threat. Observe people in conversations. Those who are comfortable might lean back, expanding their personal space, while those who are uncomfortable often contract, seeking to minimize their presence or shield themselves. Navarro teaches us to look for the alignment of the torso and hips with the feet. If someone's feet are pointed towards the door, their hips are angled away, and their torso is slightly turned, you have a strong cluster of nonverbal cues indicating a desire to disengage or escape, regardless of their verbal assurances. This comprehensive approach to observing the core of the body allows for a deeper, more accurate interpretation of true feelings, moving beyond mere surface appearances to the very essence of comfort and safety.
Chapter 4: Arms and Hands, the Tools of Interaction and Revelation. Our arms and hands are incredibly versatile and expressive, serving as both conscious tools for interaction and unconscious conduits for our true feelings. While we have more conscious control over our arms and hands than our feet, they are still prone to revealing our inner state, especially during moments of stress, discomfort, or deception. Navarro devotes significant attention to arm crossing, debunking the simplistic notion that it always signifies defensiveness. He explains that arm crossing is often a self-comforting behavior, a way to literally hug oneself during moments of stress, anxiety, or insecurity. Imagine someone in a waiting room, arms crossed. They might not be defensive, but simply seeking comfort in an uncertain environment. The context is paramount. Are the crossed arms accompanied by a relaxed posture, or by a furrowed brow, a tightened jaw, and feet pointed away? A tight, high arm cross, where the hands are tucked away, is more indicative of defensiveness than a loose, relaxed arm cross, where the hands remain visible. Hands, in particular, are powerful communicators. When we are confident, open, and honest, our hands tend to be visible, open, and often used to gesture naturally. This is what Navarro calls displaying the ventral side of the hands. Conversely, when we are feeling insecure, deceptive, or anxious, our hands often disappear. They might be shoved into pockets, tucked under the arms,
clasped tightly behind the back or hidden under a table. These hand-hiding behaviors are unconscious attempts to conceal or control our vulnerability, as the hands are highly expressive and can betray stress. Navarro introduces the crucial concept of pacifying behaviors, which are self-soothing gestures we engage in when stressed, anxious, or uncomfortable. Many of these involve the hands. Common pacifiers include rubbing the neck or face. This is a very common stress reliever, often seen when someone is feeling uncertain, embarrassed, or trying to process difficult information. Touching the lips or mouth, this can be an attempt to hold back words or to soothe oneself when feeling vulnerable. Playing with jewelry, clothing, or hair, these repetitive actions provide a sense of comfort and can indicate nervousness or boredom. Clasping hands or interlocking fingers, this can be a self-comforting gesture or a way to contain anxiety. Rubbing hands together often signals anticipation or hope, but can also be a pacifier if done nervously. The thumb display is also significant. When thumbs are displayed openly, especially while the hands are clasped, it generally signals confidence and high status. Hiding the thumbs, on the other hand, can indicate insecurity or a lack of confidence. Observing hands requires careful attention to detail. Are they relaxed or tense? Open or clenched? Are they mirroring the speaker's gestures, indicating rapport? Or are they engaged in pacifying behaviors, signaling stress? Navarro emphasizes that while arms and hands can be consciously controlled to some extent, their unconscious reactions to stress and discomfort provide invaluable insights into a person's true emotional state, making them a crucial part of our nonverbal observation toolkit.
Chapter 5. The Face. A Window to the Soul? Not always. The face is often considered the most expressive part of the human body, a direct window to the soul. However, Joe Navarro offers a critical perspective. While the face is indeed highly communicative, it is also the most deceptive part of the body. From childhood, we are taught to manage our facial expressions, to smile when we're sad, to look interested when we're bored, or to feign composure when we're agitated. This makes interpreting facial cues more challenging and nuanced than observing the lower body. Navarro highlights that while we can control our social smile, a polite but often insincere smile, genuine smiles, known as Duchenne smiles, involve the muscles around the eyes, creating characteristic crinkles. A smile that doesn't reach the eyes is often not a smile of true joy. Similarly, our eyebrows, forehead, and even the subtle movements around the mouth can betray emotions we try to hide. Key facial indicators of discomfort and stress include pursed lips. This often indicates disagreement, disapproval, or the holding back of negative comments. It's a limbic response that tries to seal off the mouth. Lip compression, similar to pursed lips where the lips disappear or become very thin, signaling high stress, anger, or a desire to contain emotions. Jaw tightening and clenching, a common stress response, indicating tension, anger, or frustration. Nose scrunching can signal disgust or strong disapproval. Neck rubbing or massaging, often extending to the face, is a common self-soothing pacifier when someone is feeling anxious, uncertain, or experiencing distress. Eye blinking. While normal blinking is natural, a rapid increase in blinking often signals increased stress or discomfort. Slow blinking can sometimes indicate boredom or condescension. Squinting can signal disagreement or a critical assessment. Navarro also discusses the importance of micro-expressions. These are fleeting, involuntary facial expressions that last only a fraction of a second, revealing genuine emotions before conscious control can mask them.
While difficult for the untrained eye to catch, microexpressions are incredibly honest. They are rapid flashes of fear, anger, surprise, or joy that momentarily escape our controlled facade. The eyes, while less controllable than the mouth, still offer clues. Pupil dilation can indicate interest or attraction, though it's influenced by light. Eye contact varies culturally, but generally, avoiding eye contact can signal discomfort, shyness, or deceit, while overly intense eye contact can be a sign of aggression or an attempt to dominate. Crucially, Navarro advises against interpreting facial cues in isolation. Because the face is so often manipulated, it should always be cross-referenced with nonverbal signals from the lower body, torso, and hands. If someone is smiling broadly, but their feet are pointed away and their hands are clenched, the smile is likely a social mask. The face can indeed be a window to the soul, but it's often a window with a curtain or tinted glass. We need to look for corroborating evidence from the more honest parts of the body to get the full, truthful picture.
Chapter 6. Head and Neck, Subtle Signs of Engagement and Threat Assessment. While often overlooked, the movements and positioning of the head and neck are rich sources of nonverbal information, revealing a person's engagement, comfort level, and even their assessment of a perceived threat. These movements, though subtle, are often highly communicative and less consciously controlled than deliberate facial expressions. One of the most common and positive head signals is the head tilt. When someone tilts their head slightly to the side while listening, it's often a genuine sign of curiosity, interest, and engagement. It's an unconscious way of saying, "I'm paying attention to you and I'm open to what you're saying." This gesture exposes the vulnerable neck area, signifying trust and comfort in the environment. It can be a very powerful rapport-building signal. Conversely, a head lowered or chin tucked in can be a protective gesture, indicating discomfort, insecurity, or a submissive posture. It's a limbic response to shield the vulnerable neck and throat area from perceived threats. This might be seen when someone is feeling ashamed, receiving negative feedback, or is in a situation where they feel powerless. The rigidity of the neck also provides clues. A very stiff, upright neck can signal alertness, defiance, or even a sense of being challenged. If someone feels they are in a confrontational situation, their neck muscles might tense up, holding their head in a fixed position. A relaxed neck, allowing for fluid head movements, generally indicates comfort and ease. Head nodding, while often associated with agreement, can carry different meanings depending on its speed and intensity. A slow, steady nod usually indicates genuine agreement, understanding, or encouragement for the speaker to continue. However, a rapid, jerky nod can signal impatience, a desire for the speaker to hurry up, or even a superficial acknowledgement without true comprehension. Overly vigorous nodding can sometimes be an attempt to overcompensate or to feign understanding. Neck touching or rubbing is a very common pacifying behavior, much like hand-to-face touching. When someone is stressed, uncertain, or uncomfortable, they might unconsciously rub the back of their neck, often just below the hairline. This self-soothing gesture releases endorphins and helps to calm the limbic system. It's a powerful indicator of internal distress, even if the person's verbal communication attempts to project confidence or calm. Navarro also points out how hair grooming or playing with hair, especially in women, can be a pacifying behavior, particularly in social settings when there is uncertainty or mild anxiety. It's a way to self-soothe and present oneself in a more favorable light. By paying attention to these subtle nuances of head and neck movements, we gain another layer of insight into a person's emotional state, their level of comfort, and their genuine engagement with the conversation. These signals, often operating below conscious awareness, are valuable additions to our comprehensive observational toolkit.
Chapter 7. Lie Detection, a Practical Approach, Decoding Deception with Caution. This is often the chapter many readers eagerly anticipate, the promise of uncovering lies. Joe Navarro addresses lie detection directly with a crucial and responsible caveat. There is no single definitive tell for deception. Instead, lie detection is about identifying clusters of nonverbal behaviors that signal increased stress, discomfort, and cognitive load, which can be associated with lying, but also with many other emotions, like embarrassment, fear, or anxiety. Navarro emphasizes the absolute necessity of establishing a baseline behavior for an individual. Before you can spot deviations, you must first understand how a person behaves when they are relaxed, comfortable, and speaking truthfully. What are their normal gestures? How do they typically hold their body? What is their usual level of eye contact? Without a baseline, any single nonverbal cue can be easily misinterpreted. For example, if someone always fidgets, fidgeting during a sensitive question might be their normal behavior, not necessarily a sign of deceit. However, if a normally calm person suddenly starts fidgeting excessively, that's a significant deviation. When looking for signs that may indicate deception, Navarro advises observing for clusters of discomfort. These are multiple nonverbal cues that appear together and suggest a heightened state of stress. Such clusters often include increased pacifying behaviors, more frequent rubbing of the neck, face, hands, or touching objects, like a pen, jewelry. Blocking behaviors, suddenly placing hands over the mouth, eyes, or ears, or putting objects between themselves and the interviewer, such as a purse, a folder. These are unconscious attempts to block out information or to shield oneself from scrutiny. Reduced or rigid body movements. A person who is lying might become unusually still, trying to control their body to avoid giving off signals. Or, conversely, they might become agitated with excessive nervous movements, but these movements often lack fluidity and appear forced. Ventral denial or turning away, as discussed in Chapter 3, turning the torso away from the questioner. Feet pointed towards an exit, an unconscious desire to escape the situation. Discrepancies between verbal and nonverbal cues, saying yes while shaking the head no subtly, or verbalizing confidence while displaying multiple signs of discomfort. Changes in breathing patterns, becoming shallower, more rapid, or holding breath. Increased swallowing, often indicative of a dry mouth from stress. Navarro strongly cautions against immediately concluding that someone is lying just because you observe these behaviors. The goal is to identify anomalies, deviations from their baseline that signal discomfort. This discomfort could be due to lying, but it also could be due to embarrassment, fear of being misunderstood, discomfort with the topic, or even just being cold. The nonverbal cues simply tell you there's discomfort here. It's then up to the observer to use this information to ask more precise, open-ended questions, to create a more comfortable environment, or to explore the source of the discomfort. The chapter reinforces that genuine lie detection is a highly skilled art, not a simple checklist. It requires patience, keen observation, contextual understanding, and a commitment to not jumping to premature conclusions. The value of this knowledge lies not in catching people out, but in understanding when someone is under stress, allowing for more empathetic and effective communication strategies. Chapter 8. Practical Applications. Integrating Nonverbal Intelligence into Daily Life. Having dissected the meaning behind various nonverbal cues, Navarro dedicates this chapter to demonstrating how to integrate this knowledge into practical, everyday scenarios. The aim is not just to understand nonverbals, but to use that understanding to improve interactions, build rapport, and navigate social situations more effectively. 1. Start with self-awareness. Before you can effectively read others, you must first become aware of your own nonverbal communication. What signals are you sending, often unintentionally? Do you inadvertently cross your arms when listening intently, making you appear defensive? Do you fidget when nervous? By becoming mindful of your own body language, you can better control the messages you transmit and ensure they align with your intentions. This self-awareness is the first step toward becoming a more effective communicator. 2. Establish baselines and observe in context. Reiterate the importance of establishing baselines. Observe people when they are relaxed and comfortable. Watch them interact with others or in public spaces like airports and cafes without the pressure of direct interaction. This helps you understand their typical nonverbal patterns. Always observe clusters of behaviors rather than isolated gestures. A single cue can be misleading. Multiple reinforcing cues create a clearer picture. 3. Prioritize observation areas. Navarro advises starting with the most honest parts of the body, the feet and legs, then moving to the torso, and finally the hands, head, and face. This systematic approach ensures you're gathering the most reliable information first. If the feet are pointed away, that's a strong signal, even if the face is smiling. 4. Building rapport and trust. Nonverbal communication is crucial for building rapport. Mirroring with caution. Subtly mirroring someone's posture or gestures can create a sense of connection and rapport. However, overt mirroring can appear mocking or unnatural. The key is subtlety and authenticity. Open body language. Displaying ventral openness, torso facing the other person, keeping hands visible, and maintaining appropriate eye contact signals trustworthiness and approachability. Head tilts and nods. Using a slight head tilt to show interest and appropriate nodding to convey understanding can significantly enhance communication. 5. In negotiations and business. Detecting discomfort. Observe for pacifying behaviors, arm crossing, and ventral denial when discussing sensitive points. This tells you when a person is uncomfortable or disagreeing, even if they're verbally assenting. Projecting confidence. Maintain good posture, keep your hands visible, and avoid excessive fidgeting to project authority and trustworthiness. Reading interest. If someone leans forward, their feet are pointed towards you, and their eyes are engaged, they are highly interested. Use this to gauge when to push a point or when to back off. 6. In social settings and relationships. Understanding unspoken needs. Notice if a friend is displaying pacifying behaviors, even if they say they're fine. This can prompt you to offer support or ask deeper questions. Assessing attraction. Look for ventral displays, prolonged eye contact with pupil dilation, and self-grooming gestures as signs of attraction or interest. Recognizing disengagement. If someone turns their torso away, checks their watch repeatedly, or their feet are pointed towards an exit, they are likely ready to end the conversation. Asking probing questions. When you spot a cluster of discomfort, don't accuse. Instead, use it as an opportunity to ask open-ended questions like, "Is everything all right?" or "How do you feel about that?" This allows the person to explain their discomfort verbally without feeling interrogated. Navarro emphasizes that becoming proficient in nonverbal communication is a continuous learning process. It requires consistent practice, keen observation, and an empathetic approach. The goal is to enhance understanding and connection, not to create a tool for manipulation. By applying these practical strategies, readers can significantly improve their social intelligence and navigate the complexities of human interaction with greater insight and finesse. Chapter 9. Becoming a Master Observer, the Art of Continuous Learning. The final chapter of What Everybody is Saying is a powerful culmination, a call to action that transforms the reader from a passive recipient of information into an active, lifelong student of human behavior. Navarro asserts that becoming a master observer is not about memorizing a static checklist of gestures and their meanings. It's about cultivating a profound and intuitive understanding of human nature, an ongoing journey of refinement and application. Navarro stresses that mastery comes from consistent, deliberate practice. He encourages readers to engage in mini missions of observation in their daily lives. Turn off the sound on your television and try to understand the narrative through body language alone. Watch people in public spaces, airports, coffee shops, parks, and try to decode their emotional states based solely on their nonverbal cues. Observe strangers interacting and hypothesize about their relationship dynamic or the topic of their conversation. These seemingly simple exercises build neural pathways, sharpening your observational skills and expanding your nonverbal vocabulary. A key takeaway from this chapter is the importance of context and baseline, principles reiterated and reinforced here. True mastery means never interpreting a single gesture in isolation. It's always about the cluster, the pattern, and how it deviates from an individual's normal behavior. A master observer doesn't just see a crossed arm, they consider why it's crossed in that particular situation, what other cues accompany it, and what the person's typical arm posture is like. This holistic approach prevents misinterpretation and fosters a more accurate understanding. Navarro also delves into the ethical implications of possessing this powerful knowledge. He reminds us that the ability to read nonverbals comes with a significant responsibility. This is not a tool for manipulation, judgment, or exploitation. Instead, its highest purpose is to foster empathy, enhance understanding, and build stronger, more authentic relationships. By understanding when someone is uncomfortable, you can adjust your approach to make them feel safer. By recognizing genuine interest, you can deepen your connection. This knowledge should be used to build bridges, not walls. Furthermore, a master observer understands that nonverbal communication is dynamic and fluid. People's emotions change, situations evolve, and baselines can shift. Therefore, continuous learning involves staying adaptable and open-minded, constantly refining one's internal database of observations. It's about being a perpetual student of the human condition, always curious, always seeking deeper insights into the silent conversations that shape our world. It's an invitation to embark on a lifelong journey of discovery, unlocking the profound power of what everybody is saying.
Conclusion: the unspoken symphony of humanity. What Everybody is Saying by Joe Navarro and Marvin Karlins is far more than just a self-help book. It is an illuminating journey into the very core of human interaction. It peels back the layers of polite conversation and social masks, revealing the raw, honest truth that our bodies constantly communicate. Through Navarro's unparalleled experience as an FBI agent, we are given a privileged glimpse into the subtle yet profound language of nonverbal cues, a language spoken universally, yet often unheard. We began this journey by understanding the sheer power of nonverbals, recognizing that our limbic system, our primal brain, is the unyielding conductor of this silent symphony. It dictates our fight, flight, or freeze responses, translating our deepest fears, comforts, and desires into physical signals. We learned that when words and actions diverge, the body rarely lies. Our exploration then moved to the most honest parts of the body, the feet and legs. These often overlooked extremities, being furthest from conscious control, provide unfiltered insights into comfort, discomfort, interest, and the desire to stay or flee. From the gravity-defying bounce of excitement to the feet pointed towards an exit, we discovered a wealth of information operating beneath the table. Next,
We ascended to the torso and hips, understanding their role as indicators of security and vulnerability. The ventral display, an open invitation of trust, contrasted with ventral denial, a protective turnaway from perceived threat. These core body movements reveal our fundamental sense of safety in any interaction. The arms and hands showed us a more complex dance, capable of both conscious expression and unconscious betrayal. We learned to differentiate between defensive arm crosses and self-comforting ones, and to spot pacifying behaviors like neck rubbing or hand-wringing that signal underlying stress or anxiety. The visibility or hiding of hands, we found, often speaks volumes about confidence and honesty. Even the venerable face, often considered the prime window to the soul, was revealed to be the most deceptive. While micro-expressions offer fleeting truths, Navarro taught us to look beyond the practiced smile, seeking corroborating evidence from the more honest parts of the body. Subtle cues like pursed lips or jaw clenching, combined with lower body signals, paint a more accurate emotional portrait. Finally, the head and neck provided subtle but potent clues about engagement, curiosity, and protective instincts, from the interested head tilt to the guarded tucked chin. Crucially, what everybody is saying instills a responsible approach to lie detection. It's not about a single tell, but about identifying clusters of discomfort, deviations from a person's established baseline. This nuanced understanding encourages us to be curious rather than accusatory, using nonverbals to understand underlying stress rather than to immediately brand someone a liar. Ultimately, this book is a profound guide to practical application and becoming a master observer. It challenges us to cultivate self-awareness, practice continuous observation, and apply this knowledge ethically and empathetically. The goal is not manipulation, but connection, not judgment, but understanding. By tuning into the unspoken symphony of humanity, we gain the power to build stronger relationships, navigate complex social landscapes with greater finesse, and truly understand the rich narratives that unfold silently around us every day. So, as you step back into your world, remember the invaluable lessons from Joe Navarro. Watch the feet, observe the torso, note the hands, then the head, and finally consider the face. You'll be amazed at how much more you truly begin to understand about what every body is saying. This knowledge is a superpower, waiting for you to wield it with intention and empathy, transforming your interactions and enriching your life. Thank you for joining us on VibeAudiobook. We hope this comprehensive summary has inspired you to look at the world and the people in it with fresh eyes. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please give us a like, share this episode with friends and family, and subscribe to VibeAudiobook for more journeys into fascinating books. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep thriving.